Welcome back, Code Websters, to another electrifying video. So today, basically what we're going to do is finalize our book tracker video. And in this video, we're going to check if a user can read a book or if he's currently reading a book. So I've already implemented it here. So I just want to show you what you're getting into. I can press that and it just says, hey, Animal Farm by George Orwell is being currently read by you. If I go straight to the leaderboard, see my profile, I can also see that, hey, I'm reading, this guy is currently reading this book. And so that's basically what we're going to be doing. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All right, everyone. So now that I've shown you that, so what we want to initially do is we want to go straight to our terminal, and we want to actually create a migration. And this migration basically simply adds a current read status to a book, and we're going to implement that so we can actually check what book is currently being read. Okay, guys, so now that that's done, let's go on to our actual migrations folder. So that's going to be under database, DB, migrate, and we should see our migration pop up here. And now it has nothing there, but what we want to actually do is we want to change the table. So we're going to go add column. And that essentially creates a current read book boolean and sets the default, let's get rid of that, to being false. So I've heard from the last video some feedback stating that the code is actually too small. So what I've done right here is I've just zoomed it in real quickly so we can actually have that up. Okay, now that that's done, let's go on back to here, clear this, and we're going to actually type Rails DB migrate. And that will add this actual column to all our current books in different users. So let's go ahead and continue with our actual code writing. So what we want to do is we want to go to our books controller. And as I've explained hundreds of times right now, the books controller always controls the book. So let's go ahead and go to books controller. What we want to first add is we want to go down to def update read, and just above there we're going to create something called def current read. This involves a bit of logic, and this will actually explain how and why we should update the current book status and what we'll do with that if we've got like 2 current books. So first of all, let's just get the previous book. This essentially gets the previous book by checking, hey, where is current book currently true? Next, if there's a previous book, and I've just saved that book. Now we actually want to get the book, which will be passed through a form. So what this actually does is it basically does 2 things in one line. It says, hey, update this book using the book's params, which we have down here. And if that book actually updates, I want to next redirect to our actual user books path, which actually shows all the current books. I also want to flash some information there. Otherwise, I want to set a render current read. So you might have some error, which will display on the front end. Now, it seems we actually haven't set a at book here. What we want to do is go back up here and type before action. And this basically calls this function set book by ID only for update read and current read. So if we go down to our update read, you actually see we find it by book ID instead of using the common one, which is params format. Control C that, cancel that. And we're going to actually create a function down here under our private section and go define. And this basically is called before each of those functions. And that essentially lets us not rewrite variables. Okay, finally, we want to actually change our book's param to allow us to change current book. Go ahead and do that. Now that that's done, we want to go next to our routes, and the routes obviously control where this actually function will be called. Let's go ahead and go down to your config folder. And we're going to add patch. Now, similar to our update read, this essentially just calls a patch under books, which is under user, for our current read. So a patch function. And this will come into play when we actually call the form and you actually see how the patch is sent through, because obviously we're updating current book each time. We want to now actually call the functions in our books controller using the index.html page. So let's go ahead and go under here and actually type in th currently read. And before that, we actually want to do th read. And that's just because we forgot that for the other form. Now, similar to this form, we basically copy this, paste it here, and we're going to change a few things. So all we've actually done is change the class names and we've changed the actual route, because these two functions are actually similar to each other, as they're both patch and they're both being called by the book. Now, similar to our previous system, we want this to be dynamic. So let's go on to our JavaScript section and use that to make this a lot more dynamic. What we're essentially going to do is call the same function we have here, and we're going to do that with different class names. And this basically does the same thing, but with the current read check and current read form. You could make this into a function and loop it twice, but I've just done this because I'm pretty lazy. Finally, let's add this to the actual user profile. So let's go ahead and go to our app. And essentially, we're just going to add a currently reading section. So let's go just above how many books she has read. And now this basically says, let's display the current book in this format, which is similar to the format we've done here, but there's only going to be one current book. So now let's add current book to our user A controller. And this simply gets the current book. Finally, we obviously want to check if this is working. So let's go to our actual Rails Ubuntu and go Rails S. Now bring up your browser, localhost 3000, and we'll see how that went. So immediately we see we've got an error. And as you can see, just down here, it's to do with the set book by ID. We've forgotten a comma. So let's go back there and add that comma. Refresh the page. And now I just need to log in. This creates a new user. Let's add a few books. Now that we've got those two done, let's check if our actual currently read system is working. So let's go ahead and press currently read. as it says here, book 1 by book 1 author is being currently read. Now let's see if my system for the logic has actually implemented successfully. Welcome back, guys. Unfortunately, our error was really simple, but we just didn't see it. Right here, you probably had read book, and in fact, that unfortunately changes read book, and that causes an error with our system. So let's go ahead and change that to current book like I have down there. Now, go back to your page, refresh it, and press something like that, and as you can see, it often it does switch between places, and it doesn't matter how many different books we have. We could add another one. And let's try it again. As you can see, each time it changes whichever checkbox. Now, if we use that and go over to our leaderboard, go see profile, we can now see what book I'm currently reading. All right, guys, that is the end of our book reading app. And I haven't implemented any design systems. You can do that with HTML, CSS, or Vue, or whatever. In later videos, I'll definitely be doing that. But in this video, I'm just trying to get everyone used to the functionality, how to nested route, how to do migrations, and all that. And thank you for being on this journey with me. All right, guys, goodbye. And as always, smash that like and subscribe button. Bye.